The Big 12 Big Monday preview and college basketball picks and preview for Tuesday, January 30th on the Big 12 Experience, part of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network, is brought to you by Hall of Fame Bets, a sports betting research platform for parlays, props, game lines. Download that Hall of Fame Bets app or visit HOFBets.com, code SGPN to get 50% off your first month and start making smarter bets today. We're also brought to you by Cut. Cut is a peer-to-peer social betting platform that's U.S.-based and available in 40 states. Head over to Cut.com. That's KUTT.com. Promo code SGPN for 10% deposit today. And there are a few days left in the month of January. Get over there to the merch store, 15% off with the promo code simply PLAYOFFS. Welcome, everybody, to the Big 12 College Experience, part of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. Monday, January the 29th, a couple hours away from Big Monday in the Big 12. First up, we got an ACC matchup with the Virginia Tech Hokies, Duke Blue Devils. Go check out our College Basketball Experience episode where we broke down each and every game, per usual, for Monday, January 29th. But this is the Big 12 Experience. We're diving into the Big Monday matchup, and we're also diving into Tuesday's slate because the openers are out. If you're wondering who you're listening to, I am Moneyline Mac, a.k.a. the former video coordinator for Bob Huggins and Frank Martin. And joining me on the Big 12 College Experience, you guys know him. He's a walking contradiction. He was born in Provo, Utah. He's got family in Ames, Iowa. He lives in Morgantown, West Virginia. He is the co-host of the Ryan and Rush Show, a.k.a. Rambling Rush. Rush, what's up, man? How are you?
Doing pretty well. Getting excited for another week in the Big 12, as we've talked about before, right? These week games, especially now that Big Monday's back, it's all about who wants to show up midweek, especially those who are not at home. You got these midweek road trips coming up for obviously half the league. So, hey, I think we're in for an interesting week. Last game's in January too. We all know what happens when the clock strikes February. So, last chance to keep these early leads going before anything can happen in February.
Anything can happen in February. And shout out to the chat, alive and well. But hey, third man in the box. You guys see him with his dog right now, Tibbles. He is a green mowing, weed growing, 6-time Zin champ. You guys know him as the Big 12 guru, Troy Chewning. What's up, man? Did you have a lazy Sunday yesterday? I did.
Pretty lazy.
I couldn't do anything after that Saturday marathon show.
Yeah, I don't think I woke up and actually got out of bed until about 10:30 or 11, which for me is 4.5 hours later than I'm usually up and going. The marathon on Saturday was fun. The chat complaining about my running water in the background when we're getting 2.5 inches of rain over 2 hours was pretty funny. Man, it's like the one day you get a break, you got to watch the dumbest football coach of all time throw everything away when the Lions should be in the Super Bowl here. But I know I saw your tweet about it, talking about taking the field goal in the second half. But if you're going to kick that field goal before halftime with a timeout in your back pocket, why wouldn't you then just, if you're going to go the conservative route, you can't switch back. That's the thing that got me. If he would have gone for it before halftime and then went for it twice in the second half, I'm cool with that. But not much of a break. Get to watch the two teams that everybody thought in the beginning of the year would be in the Super Bowl, make it to the Super Bowl. Yeah. And everyone's acting all surprised like they're ending up there. So a little bit of a break, but right back to the grind here. Big Monday, 9:00 game. Won't be getting to bed anytime early tonight either. So hope the lines on the greens tomorrow morning aren't as crooked as they would have been if I had to do them on Sunday.
Rush, your take on the Lions approach. I know you and I see eye to eye on context matters, man. Take the fucking points.
I don't know why coaches don't want points. This is just a theme we see. And it's not just the Lions and the NFC Championship game. We've seen it all this covering Big 12 sports. We saw it this past fall. We've seen it. It's just there was once a time in the NFL where, like, if you went for it on fourth down, everyone kind of stopped what they were doing. Like, it was like, oh my gosh, like, you're going for it on fourth down. Like, this is just. And now it's like, oh my gosh, you're not going for it on fourth down. We've really seen in the past 20 years the game of football just really go from this grinded out, conservative play, win 14-17 to just all hell breaking loose, I guess. It's just a game of finesse now. It's a game of
numbers.
And it's funny because even though that's happening, scoring's down year after year. It's quarterbacks are getting hurt more than ever before, and it's completely lopsided now. So anyway, I digress.
Actually, to stay on the same topic, I do kind of want to rant here. The Ravens' best player is their fucking field goal kicker. And the fact that you don't take that into account at all when you get into Justin Tucker's field goal range, the Ravens could have won that game by simply just crossing the 40-yard line and deciding to kick a field goal.
Or running the fucking ball.
And even with like 3 minutes and 15 seconds left in the fourth quarter, and they end up, attempting to score a touchdown and whatnot. You've got 2 timeouts and the 2-minute warning. Kick the fucking field goal at 3 minutes and 20 seconds left. Kick the ball off and let your defense that hasn't allowed jack shit in the whole second half to get you the ball back. Oh, it just, I don't know. It's like the coaches don't realize that 2 field goals is the same thing as a touchdown. Like, I understand the extra point exists, but for all intents and purposes, you can get 6 points on 2 trips. That's the same as scoring a touchdown and then coming up empty-handed on the next one. So,
well, hey, this is the Big 12 experience, and both starting quarterbacks are Big 12 members. Patrick Mahomes, former Texas Tech Red Raider quarterback. Brock Purdy, former Iowa State Cyclone quarterback. So we will have a Big 12 winner. I know
of all the good quarterbacks to come out of this league, you just had to know that it was going to be Mahomes and Purdy that ended up in the Super Bowl head-to-head, right?
No doubt. That's why the Big
Sam Bradford's out there somewhere like, I could have been as good as Jared Goff. If I had an offensive coordinator that just told me to dump it and hit some crossers, I could have made it.
There's a lot of quarterbacks I think would wish that they were in Brock Purdy's shoes, but they're not. And shout out to Brock Purdy. He had a good second half. But we're talking hoops here on the hardwood. Recap real quick. I know we went through each and every game on Saturday night. Recap where we're at standings-wise, almost at the midway point. Texas Tech leads the way in solo first place at 5-1. Houston, Iowa State sitting at 5-2. KU, TCU, K-State 4-3. Baylor 3-3. BYU 3-4. Oklahoma and Cincinnati and Texas and UCF all at 3-4. So we have 5 3-4 teams. West Virginia 2-5. Oklahoma State 1-6. Rush, if you had to pinpoint the biggest surprise team through 6/7 games so far, Texas Tech. Do you have another candidate?
TCU. I've been really impressed with TCU this year. I've talked about this multiple times that I really didn't know what we were going to get this year with them. I said similar with Kansas State. Kansas State, we have their identity, but TCU, they're especially with their messed up, home court we talk about. They're proving now that they can win on the road as well. I mean, this is a team we actually saw that was very decent to start off Big 12 play last year, and then kind of, fell a little bit, and then just, we didn't really hear from them again. But I think this team looks more consistent than they did this time last year. I don't think they're going to hit that cliff that they did. I think they've proved that they're here to stay. And I think, if they can really get it going in February, as we were kind of talking about earlier on this episode, They definitely can do a lot. And we've seen it March Madness time when you're hardest, people get to March Madness, teams get to March Madness, and that's their hardest time of year. For the Big 12 teams, it's actually might be their easiest time of year because they're not playing each other. So I'd be curious to see how a team like TCU can respond. Maybe they're like Kansas State last year where they get to that Elite 8 spot. So curious to see how they continue to go, but I've been very impressed with them so far.
When it comes to the surprise team on the impressive side for me, also Iowa State. I know we hinted at them being a little bit better at scoring the basketball this year, but they are significantly better at scoring the basketball. And I mean, it's keeping them in games that they probably wouldn't have won last year, and it's helping them like cover games that they wouldn't have covered last year as well. So Iowa State has surprised me. I think on the other side, Baylor is pretty surprisingly, I don't know, pussies. Yeah. I don't know how else to put it. Like not grinding, not being able. I mean, you got to expect you're going to have a few of those games in the Big 12, and to just look like you're completely unprepared to have any kind of like pushback or anything throughout games. Pretty surprising from a Scott Drew squad. Maybe the guys just don't really gel that well. I'm really not sure, but there's obviously something there that is it's almost just on the effort level that's keeping them from, having a win or two more, which is 1 or 2 extra losses in the Big 12 could really set you up for some kind of failure when it comes to March. If you end up with like a 6 seed and you should have been a 3 or a 4, you get right into the madness right away in the first round. With how they're playing right now, Baylor would be a prime first round or second round upset candidate for me right now to get beat by a team that has any kind of continuity, or maybe like an older rostered mid-major team can get them to grind, and Baylor just doesn't look ready for it. So on the bad surprising side, I would say Baylor.
I agree 100% with both of what you guys said. And to Russ's point, if TCU could get a better draw, I thought last year they got fucked on that draw where they had to play Gonzaga and Drew Timme in the second round. They were in the region with Kansas and UConn. If they get a better draw, I mean, we saw them. They almost beat Arizona the year before. And Troy, I'm with you, man. Baylor's soft again. And that's why they petered out in the round of 32. They kind of feel like they're trajecting on that route right now again, because they don't defend, and that's why they can't close out these games unless they're playing the newcomers. But we'll see. Baylor has a week, or they play on Wednesday night, so we'll see how the Baylor Bears bounce back from 3 losses now instead of 2. But first, we got to talk Big Monday, but before that, even, we have to talk about Hall of Fame bets, because you can win bigger by betting smarter with Hall of Fame bets. With Underdog Fantasy. I'm all over the place. So they update it every Monday, and the ad is changing as I was going. So sorry, Underdog Fantasy. You can play alongside your favorite players all season long. NFL, NBA, NHL, college basketball, college football. Simply pick higher or lower with your favorite stats and cash in. And you can win 100 times with some nice, spicy plays, baby. Troy, you've been giving out winners left and right. What do we got on the Underdog Fantasy front?
Our Arthur Kaluma, Hunter Dickinson play. Arthur Kaluma couldn't get one more free throw for us to hit that one, so we missed out on that one by half of a point. But we do have a spicy pick in tonight's game. I'm going with Max Asmus lower on the 15.5 points. I don't really see too many guys blowing up in this game. I think it's going to be a bit of a rock fight. I know they have the over-under set at like 130.5, so they're not really expecting too much scoring. And with Houston's defense, I kind of like the Asmus under 15 or lower than 15.5. And I'm also going with LJ Cryer higher than 1.5 steals. That's a spicy play, and I think the active hands of Houston is going to get into some of the passing lanes and maybe knock a few balls loose for Texas. So those two together is 3.75 to 1. So it's a little bit more juice than the normal 3 to 1 on the two-way play. So we got a little bit of a bonus here. We need a couple of steals from LJ Cryer.
All right, I like it. Get over there, make your picks, maybe make a little bit of cash over on Underdog's mobile app or website. Underdog Fantasy, promo code TCESGPN, and Underdog will double your first deposit up to $100. Underdog Fantasy, promo code TCESGPN. Shout out to the chat. Hey, fucking relax, Jamie. All right, we're getting to the fucking games. You got to get fucking paid every now and then, and we were recapping to set the stage for round number 8/9 in this league. Let's go right into it, baby. Big Monday, tip it off here in less than 5 hours. The Houston Cougars are headed to Austin. Houston opened as a 5.5-point favorite. It's down to 4.5. There's still 5 out there somewhere. We'll pick it on the show at 4.5 because that's what I'm seeing consensus line. Texas. So I obviously, everybody knows where I'm at because I picked it last night, and I also tweeted out my workout play of the day. I just got done working out. So it's no secret I'm on the Longhorns tonight. Another desperation spot. They've been good as a dog in this role lately. They're back against the wall against Oklahoma. One outright. It's like a 5-point dog. 5-point dog against Cincinnati. One outright. And then obviously the Baylor game was a pick or whatever in a game they needed to have. They found a way to win that. I think at home, this place is going to be rocking for Houston's one game in there. Obviously, a top 5 team hitting the road in this league. Houston's won 4 in a row. This is their 3rd game in 6 days as well. Coming over from Provo, then back home. Now they got to go over to Austin. I think Texas is going to be right there to win the game. I think their size and athleticism on the front line bothers them. Memphis bothered Houston for all those years in the AAC. Texas with Dessou, Mitchell up front. Give me the Longhorns and sprinkle some on the money line. I think Houston's not the same team away from home. So I'm on the Longhorns. Troy, I know you're on the Cougs.
Oh yeah, the one thing I was looking at was some of the past Baylor Texas games to see how LJ Cryer played. He only played him twice in the 3 years that he played at Baylor, which is kind of insane to look back and see. But I know one of the years the season got cut off in March because of the cough after the Chiefs beat the 49ers in the Super Bowl. So we have that to look forward to possibly in 2 weeks if Brock Purdy can't save the world from Pat Mahomes. But
you see, we got a matchup if the Chiefs fucking win again.
So I do think your value bets on this one are definitely the Texas money line. But for Houston to have one chance at the Longhorns, I know it's in Austin. I could see this being a Kelvin Sampson special, and maybe they even hold Texas under that like 57-point mark or something like that. I'm laying it with Houston, and I think that the 5 and the 4 you won't see it move. I mean, we only have a few more hours, but lots of money on Texas already. Moved it down pretty quickly right upon release. Mm-hmm. Still kind of moving down. I know we see a lot of 5s, maybe some 4.5 still, but this seems like a snapback to reality spot for Texas. I think some of the teams that Texas has gotten aren't quite as good defensively as Houston, and that might cause a bit of trouble. The only way that Texas wins this game is if Dylan Dessou goes off, but we have seen that happen. So it really wouldn't be surprising. I just think that it's safer to lay the points with Houston.
This bet for me is, I definitely understand where both of you are coming from, right? The pro Texas side of it is they just got beat bad in Provo. They're looking to flush that loss out the door, down the toilet. It's, they're at home against Houston, the only time that they'll be home in the Big 12 and play Houston. So there's a lot riding on it, Texas, especially Texas. Obviously, Houston, as Ryan was saying too, it's their 3rd game in 6 days. They've been going on a winning streak lately. Their defense obviously has been solid. But I think this is more about, one, a system play, right? Take the 4.5 points with Texas, of course, them being home against a ranked team. 2, Houston, obviously, and Kansas have to play this Saturday. And I think this is the game where you kind of see Houston's wheels fall off a bit, and then they get right. And, it's a rock fight against Kansas this coming Saturday. But I'm definitely taking the points with Texas here. 4.5's too many. A home team here. You think they're going to bounce back. They need to. So, yeah, I'm on Texas too, unfortunately. But Kennedy is on Houston.
I think the look ahead would matter a little bit more if this was a Super Tuesday or a Wednesday night matchup compared to being on a Monday, almost a full week away from the weekend. So maybe a little bit of that angle is there. I know they're worried about Kansas, but once you get to this point in the Big 12, there's really no look aheads, especially for the good teams. Everybody else has already caught a loss that they probably shouldn't have. So if Houston wants to show that they're a Final Four team, they should be able to go on the road and beat Texas. I know that it's not Stillwater, but it's still not like going to the PHOG or something like that. So I think this is the one on the back-to-back road spots. They got to get one of these 2 games.
Yeah, because the fog's going to be interesting on Saturday with Houston going in there because Kansas most likely will be either tied or one back of Houston, and we know the history of the fog. But all right, so we're split 2 on Texas, 2 on Houston. Let's get over to this game. This game has got some fucking juice now with the way these two teams are playing. Texas Tech, like I said, first place in the league, going to Fort Worth. Them Frogs are laying 4.5 with Jamie Dixon and company. Texas Tech is fucking red hot, clearly, because they keep on keeping on, as they say. They just beat BYU at home in a nice comeback spot. They then went to Norman in a game that they kind of were outplayed. They came back from 6-7 down with 3 minutes left. On the other side, TCU is coming off back-to-back road wins. Back to the rubber court. I kind of struggle with this one, but then I also had that vision of Oklahoma when they were riding high into TCU, and TCU was laying this exact same number. And I think just on the back-to-back games, the only concern, I'm on TCU, and I'm getting into why I'm in TCU matchup-wise. I think their size, athleticism wears down Texas Tech. The only concern for me is they're off a triple overtime game on Saturday. And the teams that have been off the overtime games have not been that good the next game. But I still like the spot because Texas Tech is in first place. They're catching points. They're catching this many points. I like TCU on that fucked up rubber court. I think they grind this one down. I think they make shots better there. So I'll lay it with TCU here in a letdown spot for Texas Tech, and almost like a scheduled loss, in my opinion. I mean, they got the split on the road trip. I think they let down here. Give me TCU, lay the 4.5.
I really like TCU here. They get back-to-back homes. They get to play Tech, and then they get to play Texas afterwards. And I think the biggest difference for almost like you were talking about, the Oklahoma game going to TCU, I think the Oklahoma-Texas Tech game shows you what would have happened if Oklahoma had Jamie Dixon as a coach is they win that game by probably 7 or 8 points.
Yeah. So
I'm just going to go straight up with that as the handicap. Jamie Dixon is a better coach than Porter Moser, and I think the 4.5 it's going to be a sweat, but I do think they cover it. I'm laying the points.
Yeah, I really like TCU here as the home team. The 4.5 doesn't scare me. I'm laying the points with you guys as well. I do agree with you, Ryan. This does feel like a scheduled loss for Texas Tech, especially the way that they've been playing lately. And then they'll get right back on track again this weekend. But I, for everything you guys say, I completely agree. I think this is the old home team, and TCU's rolling. I do have concerns like you, Ryan, about the 3 overtimes on Saturday, but sometimes when that happens, you kind of just roll right into the next game and then, get all your rest till you play again Saturday. So Kennedy is on TCU as well, all 4 of us.
Boom. All righty. We are on.
Quad lock.
We're all 4
Hey,
of
it worked
us
with BYU
fading.
last week, though. So.
All 4 of us are fading the first place solo Texas Tech Red Raiders, catching 4.5. Let's go, baby. This is a foxhole with us 4. I think actually Texas Tech will probably be the public side just because everybody's going to see that they're in first place. So TCU, lay the number here. Real quick, if you want to battle, get over there to Cut. Cut is a peer-to-peer social betting platform that's U.S.-based and illegal in 40 states. Head over to cut.com, KUTT.com, and use that promo code SGPN for a 10% deposit bonus. Hey, and now we're brought to you by Hall of Fame Bets. Win bigger by betting smarter this NFL season with Hall of Fame Bets, the sports betting research platform for parlays, props, game lines, research all NFL, NBA with historical data and stats. Stop betting in that dark and join over 30,000 users with Hall of Fame Bets who craft a more intelligent, data-driven parlay. And get over there, download the Hall of Fame Bets app or visit HOFBets.com. Code SGPN to get 50% off your first month today. Start researching, start winning with the Hall of Fame Bets. And, of course, the SGPN merch store is 15% off everything in the end of the month. Promo code PLAYOffs. You got 2 days. Support the college experience. Come on. We're the best show on this network. And get over there and throw us a bone. All righty. Looking forward to this one because kind of the opposite of the previous game. These 2 teams have lost 2 in a row. K-State dropped back-to-back road games. Got fucking drilled at Houston. I mean, everybody's getting drilled at Houston. It's not even embarrassing if you get drilled at Houston anymore. They also lost earlier in the week. Why am I drawing a blank on who they lost in midweek? Who did K-State lose to? They lost to Iowa State in Farmageddon when Tang fucking lost his mind and started falsely accusing them of filming the bench, which, by the way, is a joke. I mean, I like Jerome Tang, but if that's not true, you can't just falsely fucking claim that shit. That's especially in this day and age with fucking Stallions in Michigan, because everybody loses their fucking mind. So Tang is in the wrong there. Still like Tang as a coach, but that's bullshit on his part. On the other side of things, Oklahoma dropped 2 home games at Texas Tech. I feel like a square here, but how the fuck do I take Oklahoma on the road in Manhattan when
you don't?
Yeah, you can't.
You don't.
I understand they're going to be desperate as hell, but so is K-State, and I'm not fading Tang at home. He's lost one Big 12 home game in 2 years, and that was the Texas, the team that went to the Elite Eight last year, in a game where they blew a 15-point lead. I'm never fading K-State at home. That's a system play, and all I got to do is lay 1.5. I feel like they may win by 1. They always win. So if you are a little worried about K-State winning the game by 1, just take the money line. It's probably at minus 115, minus 120. K-State has so many close wins over the years, but I'm not going to get cute and say Oklahoma plus 1.5, and I think K-State wins by 1. The odds of that happening are very small, but watch Oklahoma banks in a 3 at the buzzer to down 4 to lose by 1. But I'll lay it with K-State. I'm not fading Tang at home.
Yeah, you lay this for the sake of how we pick games, but whoever you're betting on in this game, you just play the money line. And
agreed.
There's no way that you can fade the Octagon of Doom here, especially after Oklahoma kind of did the same thing, collapsed a little bit in an away spot. I think the lay is easy. I think the money line is even easier for Kansas State, but there's not going to be too many teams that go into the Octagon and can get a win anyways. Nevertheless, kind of a team that's reeling a little bit. I know that the desperation angle has something to do with it, but probably not here. I think it's much more likely that Kansas State would win this game by 8 points than it would be to see Oklahoma win the game by, that 7 or 8 number. So I would just take the money line, but I'll lay the points with Kansas State here too.
So both these teams, obviously 2 losses in a row. One team, Oklahoma, lost 2 home games. Kansas State lost 2 away games. We've talked about this time and time again. You can lose your away games in the Big 12. You cannot be losing your home games. And this was a lot of our concerns going into Big 12 play. Who were the 2 teams that we talked about that we were worried and felt like they were overranked? It was BYU and Oklahoma. BYU's hanging on by a thread, but Oklahoma, they're kind of starting what could be a potential skid, right? Is you especially 2 home games in a row. I'm with you guys. I'm taking Kansas State here. This seems easy to me. I think Oklahoma can stumble into 3 in a row. Be curious now that they're at UCF again on Saturday, especially if you lose this game. That's going to be desperation there. We got to see if Oklahoma can prove us any differently right now. But I'm with you guys, Kansas State.
And the look ahead spot for Kansas State is actually going on the road to Stillwater here after this game, because then they have Kansas after that in the old Wildflower matchup of the year. So I don't know. I think if Kansas State is able to grind this game out and they win a close one, they're almost a fade candidate in Stillwater.
Yeah.
And then I think if Oklahoma loses, then you got to pick them against UCF. Losing 4 in a row.
Or we've seen this with Moser in the Big 12 slate where
the
just
big
spirals.
Yep.
All of a sudden 1-2 losses become 6-7 losses.
Yeah, you're right.
All of a sudden they're on the bubble. So we'll see. Speaking of a team that's had lost 6 in a row, they got their first win against our West Virginia Mountaineers. They're going to the PHOG.
Kennedy's on Kansas State, by the way.
I was getting ready to say. So we have a system play with TCU and K-State so far, all 4 of us.
Purple parlay.
Honestly, guys, I don't have a lot of feel in this game. I kind of want to take the points because I don't think Kansas is in fuck you mode right now with Houston on deck. I think they're going to win, but I see it kind of being like that Missouri non-conference game where they kind of let up a little bit. I actually thought they played well on Saturday. I know they lost, but it wasn't like they lost by 30 and Bill Self's fucking reaming that team. I thought Bill, and just watching Bill's presser, he was like, we just got beat in Hilton because they made fucking 8 threes to start the second half, and they shot out of their minds. I actually am going to take the points in the Phog here and say Kansas wins by 10-12, and then Bill's going to get after his team headed into the Houston game. I think he almost kind of wants them to play poorly in this game, so it's an all-out effort against Houston in the Phog on Saturday.
I'm surprised that this line's not bigger.
I was too. I thought it'd be like fucking 18.5.
Yeah, that's kind of the scary part for me. I mean, you can almost guarantee that Oklahoma State's not going to shoot as well as an Iowa State team that's just making everything. I'm going to lay the points here, though. I think this is the Warren Buffett investment strategy that cost me again last week, but you have to stick with it. As the stock keeps going down, you just continue to accumulate more. So I'm laying it with Kansas. I think Oklahoma State's just not a great basketball team, and compared to who Kansas has losses to, those teams also all beat Oklahoma State. I mean, not Dub V, but they kept them from covering. So I think the talent level here is just a little bit too much, and I'll say Kansas wins by 15. We get it from the hook.
And real quick to note, they just played on January 16th. So 2 weeks ago from tomorrow, Kansas won 90-66. So that actually has been the one Kansas blowout. Rush.
Yeah, so I know your point, Ryan. I understand your point, right? Sometimes you need to lay into a team before a big game, which obviously Kansas has against Houston this coming weekend. However, it's been a little rough for Kansas lately. There's been a lot of questions, of course. Their bench, how deep are they? Is Dickinson, is he gotten soft or, continues to play soft? Can he toughen up a bit? And I think sometimes, too, you do want the reverse of this, where before you play a team like Houston, you want to see yourselves play a complete game to know you're capable of, to fine-tune things, to get things right. I know we've been waiting around. I do agree where I don't have the greatest feeling one way or another. I'm just more curious how this is going to play out. But I'd like to think that this Kansas 20-point win is going to come up here soon, where they kind of take off from there. As we know, Saturday is the start of February when, a Kansas team starts to take off. We're seeing it with the Kansas City Chiefs, right? Have a kind of an ugly regular season, just get there and then find your stride. But I think they want to end January on a good note. I think they want to play a complete game before they play Houston. I think this one's going to mean a little more than it normally would. Oklahoma State, obviously, coming off the unfortunate win against West Virginia. So they got their win, and, now they may just kind of be like, all right, well, we got our Big 12 win, and, they may lay down for this one. So I'm going to take Kansas here. And so Kennedy's on OK State.
All righty. Also
to note in that first Oklahoma State-Kansas game, all 5 starters for Kansas, double figures.
Yeah, that was a beatdown. I'm surprised that they beat him down like that in Stillwater. That was Furphy's game. That was when he really came onto the scene. And then, of course, they took a loss to Morgantown. This show had it called. All right, let's go over to lock and dog time. Give me the Tang Gang for my lock.
Yep.
Give me the Tang Gang. This might be a unanimous lock, actually. Rush.
Yeah, I'll join the unanimous lock.
I was gonna say I would think about locking TCU, but Texas Tech has shown that they're a good enough basketball team that with that 4.5, that there's a big chance that that's a 1 or 2 point game. I think the Kansas State lock is. The more and more I think about it, the more and more that it seems like it's going to be a 5-point game the whole time and then kind of spread out to that 8 right at the end. So we're locking K-State.
Rush?
Yeah, yep. I'm joining you guys.
Sweet.
I think
it's
a
right,
good option.
Let's give out some dogs.
Purple parlay. Fuck the Dogs.
I had Oklahoma State, but I'm not giving them out to win in the Phog. No way. Like I said, I think that game's between 10 and 15. Tonight, we go horns up. Hook 'em. Give me the Longhorns against Houston here. This would put them on the right side of the bubble headed into February. Give me the Longhorns to pick off the Houston Cougars tonight.
I don't really want to take Texas as a dog, and I don't know if any of the other dogs have much of a shot. I mean, I guess Oklahoma does, but I'm going to go ahead and alternate Kansas State to 3.5.
Okay.
I'm with you, Ryan. I think Texas wins tonight.
All right. Let's do it. For our money or our parlay, I picked Oklahoma State, but if you guys want to outline TCU, K-State, and Kansas, I can be swayed onto the Kansas side if in case it is a 20-point beatdown. Is that what we want to do for a moneyline parlay?
I mean, you got to at least put the two purple teams in there that we locked, right? You got to go at least TCU and K-State. So I think your best bet is to parlay those two as a two-way play, and then parlay all three with Kansas at like 18.5, 17.5, or something like that.
Would you say TCU 6.5? Or
7.5? I would almost just take the 4.5 with TCU and maybe put K-State up. I don't know about the alternate line against the number one team in the conference.
We could just do the 3 home teams with the line. That's a good parlay. That'll be what, fucking 5-1, 6-1.
Just take the normal line on them.
Yeah, let me plug this in right now. So if you take TCU, K-State, and Kansas, all 3 home teams tomorrow, it's going to be around 7-1. My shit's not loading. It never loads.
And shout out Chad G. We haven't even gotten to the Wednesday episode where we'll go over West Virginia, but he's locking it in already.
Oh yeah. They're beating Cincinnati.
We got a Russian up in here.
Oh yeah.
Drink vodka.
Plus 595 because they're all minus 110. So it's basically 6-1. TCU minus 4.5. K-State minus 1.5. Kansas minus 14.5. We got 2 games on Wednesday that we'll recap these games on Wednesday afternoon. So set your calendar, set your reminders, set your work calendars, whatever the hell you need. But we got a lot going on. Wednesday's games, obviously Cincinnati comes to Morgantown in the Bob Huggins Bowl, and we got Baylor taking on UCF. Baylor and UCF. That'll be both teams need to win there too. So we'll pick those games on Wednesday, recap these games.
That's a pussy party game. That's a pussy party game between UCF and Baylor.
Yes. Troy, plug what you got going on the rest of the evening? Or than watching
find me over on the X at Troy Chewning, just the full name. Not really much going on. It's one of the way too windy to do anything fucking outside days. I got fucking weed plants I need to transplant that I'm just staring at right now. Probably just eating leftovers, hanging out on the couch, putting videos of Tibbles up. He'll make his Houston, Texas pick here on Twitter probably in about an hour. So he's 1-1 right now. We did not get the Kansas State, Iowa State game, but looking to get back on the winning side for the dog bets. And I'm sure he'll be on Texas because they're the dog. So
yes. Hook 'em. Rush, what we got going on, man?
At Rambling Rush, Twitter and Instagram. The Ryan and Rush Show will be another live edition at 6:00 tonight. So we'll hopefully see some of you over there. Appreciate the support, everyone. Looking forward to Wednesday's show.
Yeah, get on over there. Subscribe to the Ryan and Rush Show. Subscribe to the College Basketball Experience. Subscribe to the Big 12 Experience, the main sports gambling podcast network. He's at Troy Chewning. He's at Rambling Rush. I'm at moneyline_Mac. That's all I got. Let's get on to Big Monday and then Super Tuesday tomorrow. See you guys on Wednesday. We are out of here.
Doc must have been here for the Saturday night show knowing I was on mushrooms.